Pro wrestling. Whether you are a devoted fan or a nitpicking skeptic, you cannot deny it's a show. And one of the biggest events of the year is the Thanksgiving weekend WWE Survivor Series. So we are going to tag in and body slam the weird in today's episode of 5 Weird Things. Welcome to the channel. We all love some weird, and from its inception, pro wrestling has weird firmly woven into its fabric. What I love about the Survivor Series is that it's widely thought of as a Thanksgiving event. While I've never been to a Survivor Series, I did see Hulk Hogan at LAX Airport in Los Angeles the first week of November in 1990, and it shocked me how big a human being he was. So what's your best Survivor Series or just pro wrestling story? Tell me down in the comments. All right, let's get into it. First, the stuff we should all know. The Survivor Series is an annual professional wrestling pay-per-view event produced by World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. It usually takes place in November, and it's one of the big 4 WWE pay-per-view events, along with WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and SummerSlam. Now, the Survivor Series is known for its traditional elimination-style tag team matches, where teams of 5 or sometimes more wrestlers compete against each other, and team members are eliminated one by one until the whole team is eliminated. There's also other types of matches and such featured on the card. Keep in mind the specifics of each year's Survivor Series event they vary, and new storylines and developments occur in the world of pro wrestling. I don't want to lock down this info for just this year, so I'm going to go back to the beginning of the event and include a lot of different years. For the most up-to-date information on the Survivor Series, including match cards, results, all that, I recommend checking the latest WWE programming or official WWE sources online. Side note, in pro wrestling, when something is scripted, it's known as a work. How much of pro wrestling is a work is too much of a debate to go into here, so I'm not going to touch it. All right, weird thing number 5, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is the only wrestler to have appeared on the card of every Survivor Series from 1987, the first year, to 1992. Now, he was one of the most polarizing superstars in WWE history. Hulkster's popularity was unmatched, and whether he was holding the WWE Championship or not, he was a main feature of the Survivor Series. Now, Hogan's synonymous with his success at WrestleMania, but he boasts a very healthy 4-2 record at the Survivor Series. Weird thing number 4. The announcers are as wild as the wrestlers. Here are the announcers for the first handful of years of the event. In 1987 and 88, Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura, also Governor Ventura. And then in 1989, 90, and 91, Gorilla Monsoon was joined by Roddy Piper for commentary. Survivor Series 1992 and 93, Vince McMahon and Bobby the Brain Heenan took over as the lead commentary team. Now in 1994, Vince McMahon, Gorilla Monsoon were the main commentators for this edition. And then in 1995, Vince McMahon and Jerry the King Lawler became the primary commentary team. And it changes over the years, but there are some names that just show up on a regular basis. Weird thing number 3. The Montreal Screwjob, as it's known, was a work. This was in 1997. Now at the time, Bret Hart was set to leave the WWE for its rival promotion, the WCW, which is World Championship Wrestling. Hart, however, was the reigning champion, and there was concern that he might take the WWE title with him to the WCW. In an attempt to avoid this, and without Bret Hart's knowledge, Vince McMahon, the owner of WWE, and a few others devised a plan to ensure that Hart would drop the title before leaving. So during the match, Shawn Michaels put Bret Hart in the sharpshooter, which was a submission hold, and despite not submitting, Vince McMahon ordered the referee to ring the bell, signaling the end of the match and declaring Shawn Michaels the winner. This was done without Hart's consent and against the pre-match agreement that the match would end in a disqualification, allowing Hart to retain the title. Weird thing number 2. CM Punk was not a work. Now, CM Punk was one of the more popular wrestlers in modern WWE. He abruptly left the WWE in 2014, citing creative differences and health concerns, and a lot of fans speculated that it was a work or part of a storyline. The theory suggested that Punk's departure was staged to create suspense and anticipation for his eventual return. However, Punk's departure was later confirmed as legitimate, and he remained away from the WWE for several years before returning to the industry. Now, it was proven not to be a work when he signed with the UFC. However, his incredibly poor performance in MMA led to him leaving the sport of MMA after losing 2 fights. Now, one fight was overturned due to a failed drug test to become a draw, but he lost it badly. I saw it. And finally, weird thing number 1, odd and wildly popular characters. Now, the Survivor Series was a holiday showcase for the old guard of pro wrestling, as well as a nice spotlight for the up-and-coming new talent. Now, here's a few. The Rock's debut. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson made his WWE debut at the Survivor Series in 1996 as Rock Maivia, combining the last names of his father, Rocky Johnson, and grandfather, Peter Maivia. The Rock had a massive WWE career and went on to have an even bigger career as an actor. The Gobbledygooker, debuting at Survivor Series 1990, the first year that the show was tied to the Thanksgiving weekend, the Gobbledygooker was a giant turkey that hatched from a mysterious egg. The character, portrayed by Hector Guerrero, didn't connect well with the audience and is often remembered as one of the more peculiar moments in WWE history, which is pretty peculiar to begin with. Eugene. Nick Dinsmore portrayed Eugene, a character with special needs who had a passion for wrestling. Eugene's character was controversial for its portrayal, and while it had moments of success, is considered odd and somewhat cruel due to its unconventional approach to those with special needs. Doink the Clown was portrayed by several wrestlers, including Matt Bourne, was a mischievous clown character known for playing pranks on other wrestlers and the audience. Doink made appearances at several Survivor Series events, adding a touch of surrealism to the shows. Now, given the general agreement that many people have a wild and just an irrational fear of clowns, this is yet another character that I don't think would fly in modern days. So whether pro wrestling is fake, real, or something in between, it's still doing the job that the first pro wrestlers did decades and decades ago, entertaining that crowd. And Survivor Series is a Thanksgiving tradition in a lot of households. Well, that's it for today's episode. If you liked it, loved it, or hated it, let me know in the comments. And if you've made it this far, the code word for this episode is Hulkamania. Put that in the comments. I'll give you a crisp high five. Take care. Have a great night.